Well, once upon a time, on a faraway planet, there was an ant named Anthony who opened up a sandwich shop inside of a meteor. One day, while out on his daily crumb run, Anthony the ant found something weird, a tiny rock that was hurtling through the sky. It looked like it might be heading for his planet, so he decided to take a closer look. And to his surprise, it was actually a flying meteor. To make sure it didn't crash into anything, Anthony jumped onto it and started pushing it around with all of his might. But even though he was strong, this meteor was really heavy. So, after a while, Anthony climbed up onto its peak and started guiding it towards the biggest, baddest asteroid he could find. This way, if they were going to collide, it would be with something equally as big and strong as them. And after several hours of hurtling through space, Anthony finally found what he was looking for. A giant hunk of space rock bigger than any other rock that had ever rocked anywhere in all of the universe. So he steered the meteor right into it. And when they hit, Anthony just laughed because he knew that this meant free real estate. So with his new piece of the asteroid, Anthony got to work building his dream restaurant. He added windows to look out of, doors to walk through, walls to stand against, tables to sit at, and chairs to relax in. He designed the kitchen himself and installed a brand new grill, an oven, a freezer, and a coffee machine. Then he hung up a sign out front that read Anthony's Out of This World Eats. And to celebrate, he took a break and floated around in his zero-G spacesuit, taking in the beautiful view. Just then, some worms crawled past his window. They were wearing cute little helmets and jetpacks made of neon jelly, and they waved at him as they floated by. Anthony waved back and couldn't help but wonder where they were going. So he put on his helmet and followed them. It turned out they were headed to the grand opening of his restaurant, and as they approached, Anthony could see more and more customers floating past his window. There were worms on bikes, birds carrying fish, spiders riding turtles, and even a lone mushroom wearing sunglasses. And as they walked in, the customers explained to Anthony that their standard mode of transportation was to use jelly jetpacks, but they were only fueled by the rare nectar of space flowers, which grew only on one asteroid in the whole universe, an asteroid that just so happened to be right next door. So Anthony welcomed each customer with a smile, although some of them he recognized from high school, even though he hadn't seen them in millions of years. First up was Gary the snail, who ordered a ham and cheese sandwich, extra thick cut, no crust, no pickles, mustard on the side. Next was Gary's girlfriend, Gertrude, who wanted a BLT with lettuce, tomato, onion, and spicy brown mustard. Then came Barry White, who requested a peanut butter and banana sandwich, extra jelly, no crust, with a cup of black coffee. After him was Birdie, who always ordered the same thing, an egg salad sandwich, extra protein powder, extra mayonnaise, a side of bacon bits, and a glass of milk. And last but not least was Shelley, the hermit crab, who ordered a turkey sub, extra cheese, tomato, onion, pickles, mayo, mustard, lettuce, and pepper. She also wanted her usual side of space whale jerky, which was actually just a regular bag of chips that she kept Now, normally preparing these orders would be pretty difficult, but Anthony had something that made his life easier. A table full of pre-sliced bread, deli meats, cheeses, and toppings. It was actually sent to him by an old friend who ran a grocery store on a different asteroid. He was delivering another box full of groceries soon, but first, he needed to test out the new spacesuit Anthony had designed for him. So the two friends met up outside, and Anthony helped the man put on his new suit. It was red with white stripes and a shiny helmet that made him look like a giant piece of watermelon, but it was very heavy and hard to move in. So Anthony showed him how to do a zero-G flip, to make it easier to get around. Meanwhile, back at the restaurant, all the food was ready and the customers were getting impatient. So Anthony hurried up, grabbed everyone's food, and brought it out back to the patio where they could eat in zero gravity while watching the meteor shower. He served jelly rockets topped with orbiting olives and triple-decker sub sandwiches that played leapfrog with each bite. And the customers loved it. They thanked Anthony for the delicious food and for such a fun atmosphere. And they told him they would definitely be coming back again soon. But before long, it started to get dark. The sun was setting over the horizon and Anthony was getting sleepy. Plus, he still had to clean up the restaurant and restock the supplies for tomorrow. So the customers thanked him again for the wonderful evening and headed home. Soon after, Anthony locked up his restaurant, got into his pickle comet, and flew home. He was tired, but he couldn't stop smiling because his first day in business was a complete success. His restaurant was already the talk of the town, or well, the asteroid. And he couldn't wait to see what the next day brought. As soon as the sun rose, Anthony was up and at him, making grilled cheese rockets and triple-decker sub sandwiches. He did a little dance while he waited for his coffee to brew and hummed a happy tune as he polished the silverware. But soon he heard the sound of sirens. He looked out the window and saw a huge spaceship land in front of his restaurant. The doors slid open, and out stepped 5 menacing-looking aliens with guns in their hands. "Freeze! Everyone!" one of them shouted. "You are surrounded!" Then another one stepped forward and asked, "Where is it? Where is the legendary sandwich?" Anthony was confused. "What sandwich?" he asked. "The one that gives super strength," the alien demanded. "They said it was here." Anthony shook his head. "I don't know what you're talking about," he lied, hoping they wouldn't search the restaurant. But one of the aliens started moving the tables and chairs aside, looking for something. "Great," Anthony thought. "This is going to be a long day." One of the aliens suddenly grabbed Anthony by the shirt and pulled him close. "Listen, buddy," he whispered. "If you want us to leave, just tell us where the sandwich is." Anthony sighed. All right, I know where it is," he said. He led them outside and pointed towards the sky. "There!" he shouted. "The sandwich is in the sky." The aliens looked up and started firing their weapons. But instead of hitting a sandwich, they just created a small sun. Anthony started laughing, and the aliens joined in. They spent the rest of the day playing with their new sun, making it bigger and smaller, hotter and colder, brighter and dimmer. Finally, when it started to get dark, they thanked Anthony for the fun and went home. Anthony returned to his restaurant feeling exhausted. He flopped down in his chair and ate the sandwich that had caused so much trouble. It was a jelly rocket with extra mustard. As he ate, he thought about how crazy his day had been. He had served space whales, encountered aliens, and made a new friend. It was definitely the best day he'd ever had since he opened up shop. And as he cleaned up for the night, he couldn't help but smile. Even though being an intergalactic chef was hard work, he loved every minute of it, and he couldn't wait to see what adventures tomorrow would bring. The end.